If we can find a vaccine that works, it will stop the spread of HIV.
"40 million people are living with the disease, and every day another 12,000 are infected." Around the world, scientists are searching for a vaccine against HIV/AIDS. It is one of the greatest challenges we face today.
The question was, why was there not a vaccine? And when people first figured out that this was a virus, people said we need a vaccine. That's how we deal with viral illnesses. And so it would have been the natural thing to do. In fact, there are predictions that they'd have a vaccine within a couple of years. It's turned out to be a very difficult science challenge.
Vaccines teach the immune system to recognize harmful organisms and fight off disease when the body faces the real thing. Despite extraordinary advances in understanding both HIV and the human immune system, a fully successful HIV vaccine continues to elude researchers. HIV is a moving target. The ability of the virus to evolve and mutate rapidly allows it to escape immune responses. The enormous diversity worldwide of HIV poses challenges to the development of an effective vaccine. HIV attacks CD4 T cells, the most important part of the immune system. It coordinates and directs the activities of other types of immune cells. For a vaccine to be effective, it will need to be able to activate these cells, a difficult feat if they're being infected and destroyed by the virus. Scientists have not identified the correlates of immunity or protection for HIV. Unlike other viral diseases, there are no documented cases of complete recovery from HIV infection. Without a practical animal model to predict the effectiveness of an HIV vaccine in people, vaccine development is severely limited. While there are several biological challenges in HIV vaccine development, there are also market failures that must be addressed in this process. Long-term effort requires long-term, high-level global commitment, but the process of vaccine development is risky, expensive, and laden with failures. As a result, there are few market incentives for industry activity. The vaccine development process can take a minimum of 6 years just in clinical trials, requiring long-term investment with high risk. Instead, industry is focused on drug development because HIV-infected people have to take ARVs for their entire life. The dependence on drug treatment for a prolonged period of time provides a constant market for the drug industry. A potential vaccine would only have to be taken once and is needed in mostly developing countries where the ability to pay is very low. Therefore, groups like IAVI are trying to overcome these market failures in the development of an HIV vaccine.
It was this intense push to get drugs, which is, by the way, why we have more drugs for HIV than all other viruses put together now. But the vaccine effort really dropped down, and there was not a lot of money, there was not a lot of attention, not a lot of activism, not a lot of focus on the needs of the developing world.
In spite of the great challenges, there is good evidence that a vaccine is possible. But collaboration is essential to find one that's safe and effective.
What we need to do is search the world for the best candidates. It's not about one country, it's not about one group or one company. It's about searching the world for the best ideas, then taking them forward and bringing them into clinical trials as fast as possible, but doing it in a systematic way so that you can use the results to prioritize those candidates.
We wanted to have a new organization that would really help fill that gap in taking ideas and turning them into products and get them into human trials.
The decision was made to make a not-for-profit public-private partnership, and that was the birth of IAVI.
It was a revolution in public health. IAVI combined industry's expertise in product development with basic science, public policy, and informed advocacy. all with the goal of ensuring that any eventual vaccine would be widely available in the countries where it was needed most.
And the mission of the organization is to try to, accelerate the development of an AIDS vaccine for use throughout the world.
IAVI's funding is generated from governments, foundations, multilateral organizations, corporations, and individuals. Governments, including the United States, account for 89% of funding. Organizations such as the Gates Foundation account for 6%, while multilateral organizations, including the World Bank, account for 4%. Meanwhile, corporations like Google and Merck and individuals account for only 1% of funding. In 2007, IAVI had $100 million in revenue and $89 million in expenditure. The AIDS vaccine industry spent less than $700 million in the same year. IAVI's research and development team is drawn largely from the vaccine industry and works with more than 40 academic, biotechnology, pharmaceutical, and government institutions around the globe. IAVI designs, develops, and clinically evaluates HIV vaccine candidates for use in the developing world. There are currently 30 clinical trials occurring in 24 countries worldwide. In the last 6 years, IAVI and its network of partners have translated innovative technologies into 6 vaccine candidates that have entered human trials in 11 countries throughout the world. IAVI implements a major part of its research, policy, and advocacy programs in developing countries, where 95% of new HIV infections are occurring. They partner with researchers, policymakers, and community health organizations. IAVI conducts educational initiatives, voluntary counseling, testing consultations, and capacity building to ensure an effective and transparent clinical trial process. IAVI's HIV vaccine trials, conducted in collaboration with local scientists, are located primarily in sub-Saharan Africa and India, where different subtypes of the virus are circulating. Local partner institutions include the Kenya AIDS Vaccine Initiative, Rwanda's Project San Francisco, the Uganda Virus Research Institute, and the Zambia Emory HIV Research Project. IAVI analyzes and advocates for improved public policies to accelerate vaccine research and development and ensure rapid global access to a future vaccine. Their approach has focused policy research on a wide range of topics, including expenditures and future spending needs, public health and economic benefits of an AIDS vaccine, and incentives to increase industry participation in vaccine discovery. The search for an HIV vaccine is challenging and full of failure. However, it is the only way to truly end this epidemic. Organizations like IAVI are making great strides with new approaches and a global commitment, but continued support is necessary in this difficult process. Imagine a world without HIV/AIDS.
The possibilities are really exciting. We have an opportunity to realize a generation free of AIDS. Imagine what Africa would be like if no mother had to worry whether or not her baby would be born with a disease that would most likely kill the baby before he or she reaches the age of 5. Imagine an Africa where hospital beds were empty and playgrounds full, where families could pay for education rather than medication, where children were free to dream of a future and not a cure. This Africa is now within our reach.
It might not happen in the next 2 years, it might not happen in the next 5 years, but it will happen.